This happened when I was 23, and it's the reason I never sell anything through Craigslist anymore. Back in 20, I had just moved into a new apartment in Portland, Oregon. The place was small, and I needed to get rid of some furniture from my old place. One of the biggest things was this huge gray couch I had bought during college. It was still in decent shape, but it was way too big for my new living room, so I posted it on Craigslist. Within a few hours, I got a message from someone named Mark. His message was short. "Is the couch still available? I can pick it up tonight." I thought it was a little fast, but I didn't really care. I just wanted the couch gone. We agreed he'd come around 9 p.m. That night, my roommate Tyler was working a late shift, so I was home alone. Around 8:45, I got another message. "I'm on my way." 9 came and went. Then at about 9:20, I saw headlights slowly pass my apartment building. The car stopped at the curb. It was an old, dark sedan. The engine stayed running. A minute later, my phone buzzed. "I'm here." I walked outside to meet him. The guy who stepped out of the car looked older than I expected, maybe mid-40s. Tall, thin, wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his face. He didn't smile or introduce himself. He just said, "You the one with the couch?" "Yeah," I said. "It's upstairs." He followed me into the building. Something about him immediately felt off. He walked really slowly behind me, like he was studying the hallway. When we got to my apartment, I opened the door and showed him the couch in the living room. He didn't even look at it right away. Instead, he glanced around the apartment. Kitchen, hallway, bedroom door. "You live alone?" he asked. "No," I said quickly. "My roommate's home. He's just in the shower." That was a lie. The guy finally looked at the couch. He pressed one hand into the cushion. "Looks good," he said. Then he asked something strange. "Mind if I check the bedroom? Sometimes couches don't fit through narrow doors." That didn't make sense. The couch wasn't even near the bedroom. I laughed awkwardly and said, "It came through the front door just fine." He stared at me for a second. Then he smiled. But it didn't feel friendly. It felt like he was deciding something. "Actually," he said, "I might need help carrying it." "That's fine," I said. "My roommate can help when he's done." At the mention of another person, his expression changed slightly. He stepped back from the couch. "You know what?" he said. "I think it might be too big for my place." The whole thing had lasted maybe 3 minutes. He turned and walked toward the door. I followed him into the hallway. But instead of going straight to the stairs, he stopped. He looked down the hallway, toward my neighbor's apartment. Then he looked back at me. "Nice building," he said quietly. And then he left. I watched from the window as he got into his car, but he didn't drive away. The car stayed parked across the street for almost 10 minutes. Finally, it pulled away. I thought that was the end of it until the next morning. My neighbor from across the hall knocked on my door. She asked if I had seen anyone strange the night before. Apparently around 10 p.m., someone had tried opening her door handle over and over, like they were checking if it was unlocked. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a tall man wearing a baseball cap, standing in the hallway. This happened when I was 20, and it's the reason I never pick up free items from Craigslist anymore. When I was in college in Arizona, I was always looking for cheap stuff for my apartment. One night, I saw a Craigslist listing for a free 55-inch TV. The post said, "Works fine, just upgrading, need gone tonight." The address was about 25 minutes outside the city. I messaged the guy, and he replied almost immediately. First come, first serve. So I grabbed my friend Eric, and we drove out there. The neighborhood got quieter the farther we went. Streetlights became sparse. Houses were spaced farther apart. Eventually, the GPS led us to a long dirt driveway. At the end was a small house with only one light on. I texted the seller. "We're here." A minute later, the front door opened. A man stepped outside. He looked skinny and pale, wearing a hoodie despite the Arizona heat. "You here for the TV?" he asked. He asked. "Yeah." He waved us toward the house. "Come inside." Eric and I exchanged a quick look, but we followed him. The inside of the house smelled weird, like old cigarettes and something rotten. The TV was sitting in the living room against the wall. It looked fine, bigger than I expected. "This thing still works?" I asked. "Oh yeah," he said. But while Eric was checking the screen, I noticed something strange. The house felt empty. No furniture except the TV stand. No decorations, no pictures, just bare walls. Then I noticed something else. The hallway behind us was completely dark, and I heard movement, like a soft creak on the floor. I turned. "Someone else here?" I asked. The guy hesitated. "Just my brother." Right then a shadow moved in the hallway. Another person was standing there, just watching us. My stomach dropped. The second guy didn't say anything. He just stood there. Eric whispered to me, "Dude." The seller suddenly said, "You guys need help loading it?" His tone had changed. He stepped between us and the front door. That's when I noticed something in his hand. Not fully visible, but it looked like a knife handle. Adrenaline hit instantly. I grabbed Eric's arm. "Actually," I said quickly, "we forgot our truck straps." The guy frowned. "We can help carry it." "Nah," I said. "We'll come back." I didn't wait for a response. We walked straight out the door. Once we were outside, we ran to the car. As we drove away, Eric looked back. The two guys were standing in the driveway, watching us, not moving, just staring. When we got back to campus, I checked the Craigslist post again. It was gone. This happened when I was 24, and it's the reason I will never look for work on Craigslist again. A few years ago, I had just moved to Chicago and needed a quick job. While browsing Craigslist, I found an ad for night security work. It paid $25 an hour. The job description was simple. Watch over a private warehouse, no experience needed. I emailed the listing and got a reply almost instantly. The guy said his name was Dave. He asked if I could come that night to see the property. The warehouse address was in an industrial area outside the city. I figured it was legit. When I arrived, the place looked abandoned. Huge metal building, broken streetlights, no other cars around. I almost left. Then a pickup truck pulled up beside me. A heavy-set guy stepped out. "You hear about the job?" he asked. "Yeah." He unlocked a large metal door and waved me inside. The warehouse was enormous, completely empty except for a few wooden crates near the far wall. Dave started explaining the job. "You'd sit in your car most nights. Just make sure nobody comes near the building." "Why?" I asked. "Private storage." His answers were vague. Then he asked something strange. "You live alone?" My guard immediately went up. "Why?" "Just curious." We kept walking deeper into the warehouse. That's when I heard something. A muffled banging sound, like someone hitting metal. I stopped. "You hear that?" Dave paused, then quickly said, "Probably pipes." But the sound came again. 3 loud bangs from inside one of the crates. My stomach turned. I walked closer. Dave suddenly stepped in front of me. "No need to check that." That's when I realized something was very wrong. The banging started again. Louder. Someone was definitely inside. I backed away slowly. "You know what?" I said, forcing a laugh. "I don't think this job is for me." Dave's expression changed instantly. He grabbed my arm. "Hold on." Pure panic hit me. I shoved him and ran for the door. He shouted behind me, but I didn't stop. I jumped in my car and sped out of the lot. I called the police as soon as I hit the main road. A few hours later, they called me back. Officers had checked the warehouse. But when they arrived, the building was empty. No truck, no crates, no Dave, and no sign that anyone had been there at all. Sometimes I still wonder what was inside those crates. And what would have happened if I'd stayed just a few minutes longer.